everyone, and welcome to a special presentation of 10 Candles. Today we're going to be running this tragic game of tragic horror. I have four very brave, very volunteerous. That's not a word.
Sure.
You all volunteered. You know what you're getting into, but thank you anyway. Amy, I'm sorry.
What were we thinking?
I don't know, but thank you for doing it anyway. I really appreciate it. I don't know why you keep signing up for these things.
Because I still don't have a T-shirt that reminds me to blame all my pain on Ivan Van Norman.
All right.
Someone should make one of those.
I'll take that with me forever. So, but and TJ, yeah, you get
Happy to be here.
You get to come in and
Happy to finally get to die by your side.
God,
Yep.
yes, it's by my side or by my hand. It might be your hand
Either
for
way.
this record too.
Either way.
So, Alcuin, welcome back to the black table.
Thank you. Is this the fifth chair? Oh no, we only. Oh, are you in the fifth chair?
I think I'm the third chair. I think 1, 2, 3, 4.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
The rules are different. I'm
indeed.
confused.
Makes sense.
It's a different shape.
You've been here before, but on a lighter circumstances.
Yes.
So, but thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So again, because we are doing some tragic horror today, I just want you out there to know, as well as all of you, that this is a story in which at the end of it, everyone will perish. At the same time, you must all play as if there is hope in this world, because what is darkness without a little bit of light? And this story is just as much about holding that candle of light as it is about the all-encompassing darkness that this game portrays with its moods so delicately well. So, beautiful. Yeah. Special thanks to Mr. Stephen Dewey for writing this thing. So, you mad man, you. And we're going to go through the whole process. So we've talked about a few character things beforehand, but so we can get to the story as quickly as possible, I'd like to just get into the steps that we need to do that will determine the candles we light. We've lit them all, so in the book it usually says light the candles as we do each one of these steps, but we're beginning immediately. So first thing is first. Who are you, and what do you bring to this? Actually, that's step 2. Never mind. Step 1, each one of you is going to pick a virtue and a vice to write down on 2 of the cards in front of you. So one card will have a virtue and one card will have a vice. These are single, one-word, descriptive adjectives. Keep it vague. Let me know when you're all set.
Good to go.
Good?
All set.
What did you pick?
Tell me if I got these wrong, because I'm terrible at the English language.
At virtues and vices?
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I
yes.
do budgets. So speaking to humans isn't usually my forte.
Okay.
I put helpful
Helpful? Yeah.
and regret.
Perfect. I think those are 2 solid, tragic, descriptive statements.
Oh yeah, it's a recipe for me. eating
Okay.
shit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you get yours done? What do you have?
I've got practicality,
Practicality?
on my
Yeah.
side, but a bit of a short temper.
Short temper. Ooh, okay. Done and done.
For my virtue, I am very frugal.
Frugal?
And for my vice, I have incredible pride.
It's so amazing that you say you, because it is not you. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay.
Finally.
Then I can say it. It is not yours. You will now take your virtue and you will pass it to your right.
What?
To the character to your right.
Oh, D, what's yours?
Loving.
And
And my vice is emotional.
loving and emotional. Pass your virtue to your right.
Oh my God.
Virtue.
Okay.
This
And
one's
just the
Denise.
virtue, right?
Just the
You pass
virtue.
it
Oh, just
to
the virtue.
D?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And now pass your vice to your left.
Holy
wow.
moly. This is
There
for
you go.
Amy.
Now read your virtue and your vices.
Wow.
Oh, I got an extra card here.
Oh,
Ooh,
there we go.
bonus card.
Bonus card.
No, it's just more problems.
I am helpful, but emotional.
Right.
I am frugal and short-tempered.
Right.
I am loving, but also I have regret.
Great.
I am practical, but my vice is pride.
Excellent.
Solid.
Now, with that said, we can go into the next step, which is your name, look, and concept. Who are you? What are you? And what do you look like? I think we all talked about this a little bit beforehand. So, Dee, would you begin for us?
Yes. My name is Danny Gonzalez,
Danny Gonzalez.
mid-20s,
Okay.
dark hair, slightly overweight, but she's got good stamina.
Great.
Before this happened, I was like a virtual assistant, did some small writing jobs,
Okay.
kept away from people, and I was traveling to see my family when it happened. In general, I've never really accomplished anything in
Okay.
life, never followed through. So this time I have to follow through
Right.
to survive, and I will, and I'll get back to my family.
Okay. So that is a hope which we will get to in a little bit as we go into it. And how about you, Alcuin?
I'm J.P. Randolph, and octogenarian billionaire.
Oh, my. Okay. All right. An octogenarian billionaire.
I'm wearing clothing that actually looks more contemporary than somebody from my generation would wear.
Okay.
Kind of out of place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your concept. Great.
Nice.
How about you, sir?
Ted Baker, mid-30s, average height, average weight, kind of has a little bit of a dad bod.
Okay.
Not particularly anything special about him. He high school education, owned a small general store with his that he ran with his wife and his son.
Okay.
And yeah, he's just
He is the American dream.
yeah. He's a helpful guy. He's always kind of has a little smile, but you can tell there's something. He forces the smile.
I see. Okay. So
Yeah.
he's holding on to stuff, but he puts on a good face.
Yeah.
Understood. And you, Miss Amy?
I'm Rebecca Seward. I am 65, just about to retire from my long career as a middle school track coach. So you can kind of picture like not quite as young or tall or glamorous as Jane Lynch, but like a smaller, rounder, older Jane Lynch.
Got it.
That's great.
But I feel we have a lot in common, but in a good way.
Perfect.
And that's me, Rebecca.
All right. So Danny, JP, Rebecca, and Ted.
That's actually Mr. Randolph.
Mr. Randolph. Mr. Randolph. You are. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on in a second. I think now is a good time as any to kind of tell you the situation you're in, the setting you're in before we start getting into what your hopes are as you go into this world. In full disclosure, I did send this all off to them beforehand, but you're hearing it for the first time. So, there are two truths in this world. 10 days ago, it appeared. Shortly after, the world went dark. The first few days were hopeful, as rescue seemed almost a certainty. But during that time, you've been stranded at the international airport in the Midwest. Almost every plane either commandeered or bribed into private service. However, when it appeared on the horizon, this tall, rippling onyx wall of nothing, you started to move. You've been walking for 5 days straight now. It does not stop. So you rarely do. When you hear the word of it slowing down, you chance a little rest, hoping that the rumors that you've heard were not lies. But as far as you know, it never ceases its unending advance across the American Midwest. Anyone or anything that has come close to the mass has never returned to tell the tale. Now, you've been keeping to the freeways, as they were abandoned almost immediately from congestion. However, it's starting to get cold now. Very cold. Mostly because the sun hasn't appeared in the sky for over a week. According to your watches, it's 6 a.m., though it may as well be midnight by all account, and you've put out your campfire, which, for all intents and purposes, what's the point, really? But it's time to get up and move again. So that's where we are going to begin our story. Now, before we get to that, I would like to know a hope that each one of you have before we get into this tale. And that can be something as simple as you hope to see the sun again. It could be something as abstract as you hope to find a butterfly or say a prayer in a church or find a lost one. What is something that you think your character would like to find hope for? Because if you find it, I will be adding a hope dice to your pool down the road that will succeed on a 5 or a 6 rather than a 6 down the road. That needs to be something that can potentially fail, but what your hope is up to you. Amy, you look confident. Miss Rebecca, what would you say your hope is?
Well, I am helpful, and I've been a teacher for a long time, so I hope along the way we can help out at least one kid.
Okay. Your hope is to maybe help a kid along the pathway. Ted?
Yeah, having lost my wife and son, my hope is to kind of redeem myself for failing to protect them and hope to protect someone else.
So just redemption for you.
Yep, straight redemption.
All right, great. Mr. Randolph.
I think I should like to not be afraid when I meet my end,
Whatever that end may be.
whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Okay. And Danny?
I hope to run into a charger for my cell phone so that I can hear my family's voice again.
Cool. All right. Yeah. That is intense, but I love it. I love it, but it's intense.
It's great.
Now, so those are all moments that you hope that you can come across in your story. Next is the last thing that we will determine before we get into our story, and they are simply called breaks. They are essentially the tipping point, the thing that will break your camel's proverbial back, should you get to there. And it is very simple. You basically write the statement, I have seen you blank. And this is something that you will actually give to a player, similar to what we did with the virtue and the vice down the road. They will go left, so you're writing them for the person to your left. I have seen you, kill a cat in the dark. I have seen you commune with it. I have seen anger in you that has left your knuckles bloody. Whatever it may be. This is a secret that only you know, that is then given to the person to your left. And please don't tell me.
Okay.
Please don't tell each other. Just write it and pass it.
And it could be about any one of us.
It can be about the person to your left.
Oh, okay, so I'm writing about.
The person to your left.
And whatever
Now,
we say
Sorry.
is going to happen in the game, or
it could be something that you get to activate as the last thing that you do, as kind of like your breaking point. So if you say I have anger that has left my knuckles bloody, then whoever you pass it to the left can use that brink in order to get a free reroll down the road, but they are activating their darkest self, is basically what they're doing. And for you, TJ, who is left to me, you get a special treat.
Ooh, good.
You get to write one rule about it.
Whoa.
You have seen it do.
Oh.
And you may give it to me.
Yeah, okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And likewise, I get to write a specific thing about you, Alcuin, as well, too. So let's all take a moment. I need to get a card for myself. And we will write these out.
what was your vice?
My vice is short temper. Okay. That guy. I need a card.
You need a card?
I didn't know I was gonna do the monster stack. This is me.
Rebecca,
This is this,
please.
right?
This is for Rebecca.
Man.
So is this for it?
No, that's for him.
No, that was for me. So you don't get to give one to Alcuin. You get to give one to me. I got to give
Just
one to
it.
Alcuin.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So you get to do the monster one right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Super duper.
This, however,
And we can look at this, right? The one that was given to us,
absolutely,
right? 'Cause we
it
need
will
to
go.
know.
It will actually go on the bottom of the stack that you will create. That begins with your virtue, your vice, then your moment, and then your brink. You cannot activate your moment, by the way, until you have both destroyed your virtue and your vice in the game.
Okay.
You can only burn whatever's active on the top of the stack.
So this
We
is our
have
moment.
written our hope.
Did you not write your hope?
I mean,
would-
I
I would
definitely did.
appreciate you writing
I
your hope.
definitely wrote it down.
But this one is our moment.
Yeah, it
right?
goes at the very bottom.
Okay.
Yes.
Just label that for myself.
And the hope is the moment.
The hope is the moment.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely. To give a little bit of reiteration of just what we can expect in this whole process, this game is described as a role-playing game of tragic horror. It literally says in the book, and I describe this. This is not something I came up with. There are other people just as devious as me when it comes to creating game systems.
Say it ain't so.
There's more of them.
I am not the only one. But it literally
Is there lightning?
every day there's lightning.
Oh man, it's getting creepy.
No, it's just you.
It's like, whoa.
It's totally just you.
Just coming up with this hot monster fire here.
I think you're beginning to lose it.
So you get this one now, but the
I
monster
do.
thing.
I do. I get it. This is now part
Do
of.
you want? I can get specific with how I saw it. Do you want
No,
that?
I just want exactly whatever faggoty you gave me.
There it is.
This
You have
is
it.
this is a game about telling a story. The story that we will tell is not a kind one. It is far from a happy one. It is the sort of story that has sharp edges. So, I am going to read now what you have. Okay. Thank you very much for that contribution.
Thank you for letting me contribute.
Now,
Now we
you
done.
have whatever is in your pockets. Let us begin the game. We start with 10 dice. These will be saved for later. I'd like you to make your stacks. They start with your virtue, your vice, then your hope, then your brink. At any time when you make a roll and you do not like the roll, you are welcome to burn a card. Technically in the game we're supposed to burn it, but since we do not want to light the studio on fire, we will rip it apart. And
Thank you.
and that will allow you a free reroll.
But it has to be in the order that
Has
the
to be in
cards
the
are,
order
right?
the
You
cards
can't
are.
you can't burn your. Okay.
No, it has to be. You have to get rid of the good.
Virtue's the first thing to go.
It's the first thing to go.
Sure is.
So, I will remind you of the beginning of our story. The world is dark. 10 days ago, it appeared. Shortly after, the sun disappeared. Now, there is only a black night and the limited amount of light that you carry with you on this trek. You have finished up this campfire, but you are wandering on the edges of a large freeway that is coming out of the major city that you've traversed. 5 days will probably get you to the outskirts of whatever major city you're in right now. But our story begins there. This is a little untraditional, but I would like to actually establish a few truths about what you have, because it is whatever is in your pocket. But I'd like to establish one truth about the light source that you have with you, because this is a dark, black world in which darkness is around you. Ironically, you have just starlight to go by. But even the moon has disappeared at this point. So, what light source do you bring with you?
I have a very strange flashlight that has a sort of cone on the end of it.
Almost like a traffic.
Yeah, whatever people use for those things, but it works. It's a flashlight.
Right. So you have a flashlight that has a diffusing cone on the top of it.
Well, geez, there are always people in front of my plane waving them when I
Right.
come into the airport.
Great. Awesome. I think that is enough to at least paint our picture at the moment. What would you like to do?
We'd like to move.
Move.
Yeah, it's getting darker.
It's only been
as
one
the
shade
sun's
of dark.
come up? Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, according to your watch, is 6 a.m., so you begin your trek through the darkness.
Let's go.
It's the small amount of light that you have does give you enough runway, if I may be so kind, in order to at least be able to not trip over your own feet as you go through the various underbrush. Are you sticking to the road, or are we going into the wilderness? What's the plan?
I prefer to stay on the road.
Yeah, it's probably a little safer for footing wise if anything else, if it's dark.
Yeah.
And, I mean, since I've got the flashlight, I'm setting the pace.
Yes.
Fair enough.
So, Mr. Randolph, you are in the front as you're leading with your cone. You continue to walk through the endless graveyard of cars that are laid out in front of you. Every once in a while, you catch a glimmer of some darkened shape that's still inside of the cars as you walk by. Sometimes you even maybe imagine it, but a small bit of movement inside.
I would check the cars that have movement.
You would check the cars that have movement. Okay. I think that's fair to make a conflict roll for.
Thanks for that helpful.
You're gonna do great.
It is the best dice pool you have right now.
3, 6, 9, 10. I need 6s and no 1s.
6s is one success will give
Yeah.
you
This is easy.
success.
Get 1 6 out of 10. That's great. You do great. Nailed it.
Great. And only 1 1. So give that one to me. Miss Rebecca, what do you see inside of the car?
Someone's dog was in there, but we can let it out.
Okay. So you saw a small dog. What type of dog?
Pug.
Pug. You open the door, and it barks happily and loudly, and its bark pierces the silence of the night, by the way. It almost seems to echo off of the shrouding area around you as you watch as this tiny white form just bounds through the carways and
Wait,
off
what?
into
No.
the plains.
That was dinner.
It's a terrible joke.
I'm not going to eat a
It's
dog.
not a joke.
He's not wrong.
And you continue your walk.
That's very cute, though.
It was very cute.
Yeah.
The image of this kind of slobbering, happy face that was poked up against the window, it is burned into your retina for a while as you carry it with you for a while, just seeing something. Now, you've seen a few other things besides yourselves at this point, but other things that are alive come few and far between at this point. And you continue to walk through this myriad of broken, disheveled things. The walk is unending. It seems like you're there for a while, and a while turns into a long while, and at some point your legs begin to ache. You don't know how long you've gone, but at some point the compulsion is to rest. And at that point you can see, just through the sheer contrast of what is in front of you and what is behind you. And behind you is always a difficult thing to look at, because You at least have the small painted skyline of the stars that are above you, but should you take your head all the way behind you, you will see the dark cutoff in which it is there. Almost like a black North Star, it guides you as your direction any way but towards it, really. And you're surprised to see that it is much closer than when you originally began your trek this morning, which is confusing because it's had a pretty steady pace up to this point. You can also see that there is a large pileup down the road, just a small distance away. Nothing too large, but the cars have spilled off into the ditches as you are taking your rest on this pile of misbegotten metal. What would you like
Granola
to do?
bars? Keep your energy up.
Yes.
Yeah, please, you have it. I'm okay.
I'll have a little bite. Thanks.
You've got to eat.
I will. I had a thing at the airport. Yeah, I'm okay.
It was a long time ago.
All right, I'll have a little bite. Thank you.
How many of those do you have left?
Oh, only a couple. It would help if someone in one of these cars had brought some snacks.
Maybe
We
they
should
did.
check. Yeah.
Yeah, let's pop a few open.
You want to investigate?
Yeah, look for things like minivans, things that might have kids.
Right. So it sounds like you're the one most interested in investigating at this point.
Sounds like I'm up.
Yeah, you are up. There's a lot of cars on this freeway,
Got one.
and one for me.
Bam. Ted's odds are getting harder.
What do you find inside of one of these broken vehicles?
I find I'm used to seeing it and having had a son. It's like that little bag of snacks that you bring for your kid. I mean, you probably know too. But it's that you have like some goldfish and like an apple, or an apple would be gone, but probably a rotted apple at that point.
5 days, 10 days. It would be mushy.
It's a little mushy, but it's still there, which is good. A couple more like granola bars for mom and dad, and a couple of those big 2.5 gallon jugs of water.
Oh, okay. So you managed to have at least 2 of those handles of
Yeah, I mean,
water.
who knows if we'll be able to carry them, but that's what's
what's there.
in there.
So you're saying this is a child snack pack. Would you mind describing the backpack for me a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's say it's one of those ones that has the fabric on the sides, but it had like a cartoon character in plastic on the front. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's got that little front pocket. It's probably got like an embroidered company logo.
Yeah.
With the characters in the back in bright colors.
And seeing it lit by the orange iridescent light of this air traffic flashlight, it has a haunting, almost eerie look about it.
Yeah, I definitely give it a good. It does look like it belonged to.
Like
I mean,
a
there's
6-year-old,
some of the
8-year-old kid.
it's a pretty young kid, pretty close to where mine was as well. So I take that in a little bit. Like after I dole out, like, hey, here's the stuff.
Do you keep the backpack?
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And the water,
Yeah. At the moment, I'm not wearing it like a backpack. I'm carrying it like a
handle.
like a handle.
Is there a name in it?
Jeez. I open it back up and I look for that tag on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there. And there it is.
Yeah.
It says Frankie.
Francis.
Yeah.
But Frankie for short.
Well, he wrote.
Frankie.
Frankie.
Oh, it's written by him. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it
Right.
says mom and dad wrote Francis, but he didn't want his friends to see Francis, so
He wrote Frankie on
he
it.
wrote Frankie on it.
So you have this backpack with you, and as a result of the spoils, your rest is a little more rejuvenating, having some, one wouldn't call it fresh fruit, but at least something other than dried or preserved goods at this point. As you kind of finish up your rest, you continue to go through, and you notice that this pileup is actually a result of the beginning of a bridge. And it looked like every single car attempted to try to get into the bridge to the point of where some cars were trying to drive over other cars, and you see you're stacked 3 high as they are ladled into this small wooden bridge that was originally like a 2-lane bridge.
Why would people do that? That doesn't make any sense. You're never going to get through.
Some people just don't think clear.
Most of the time, people don't think clearly. They just act in the moment on their most base instincts.
Sounds like you're describing my students.
Fear makes animals of us all.
Isn't that the truth?
So, who sees a path?
Well, you got the flashlight.
Same direction it's always been.
No
Straight
need for
ahead.
sarcasm, JP.
Mr. Randolph.
Excuse me.
No one calls me JP.
Yeah, don't forget the mister.
Well, Monsieur.
JP is what it says before my name on the buildings I own.
You can try that on the young folks. I'm calling you JP.
You are a young person.
Well, thank
You've
you.
not seen what I have.
You can't even try it on
Done
young
what I've
folks.
done. I've not given you permission to use my name that way.
And what does it matter anymore what you've done?
Yeah, pal.
I'm probably the only person who matters out of this group.
I don't suppose any of those awesome buildings you own are anywhere around here, are they?
No, but if we can keep going until we hit the ocean, I have a lovely villa.
It's a bit far.
The ancient sculptures that it's filled with make it worth the walk.
Lead the way, Monsieur
And
Randolph.
I'm 85. I'm not complaining.
Oh my gosh.
So Randolph, if you'd like to, find a pathway, by all means.
Yo. Okay.
So for all of you who aren't seeing the dice right now, there is no 6s in this roll, which means our scene immediately ends, and I get
There are also some. Do these matter at this point?
Nope. Let me tell you.
There may have been some ones in there as well. You'll never know.
You'll never know because this is happening at this moment. So, Mr. Randolph, as you take your small flashlight and you begin to look across this pileup of vehicles, and you can see some of the more ambitious off-roading vehicles are the ones that are sitting up on the top, and you can see it precariously poised at like a 45-degree angle. They sit with just that last eke of hope that they might crest over this ruinous pile that is blocking your path. And as you begin to get closer, you're looking for, anything that you could potentially climb over, knowing in your heart that you, as an 85-year-old man, climbing up this would be like the equivalent of scaling a rock wall. And
I thought you were going to say Everest, and I was going to say I've already done that.
fair enough. So it is with hesitation that you start to go around the side, and you look across the edges of each one of the spillway that leads down to the side of the bridge. And it's then that you feel the mud underneath you begin to slip as you fall directly onto your aged behind, and you start to slide all the way down the bank of this embarkway. And you three watch as the small bit of light that is your pinpoint in this whole world just suddenly flip as it slides down to a, I'm assuming, startled old man.
Yeah.
And with that,
Did give me a bit of a start.
we will end the scene. All right. Woo. We're going to reboot,
I can breathe again.
and you now start with 9 dice. I start with 1. Let's speak truths, shall we, about how this is happening. I will begin with the world is dark. Since you are the active player at the moment, Mr. Randolph, what is the truth?
Can it be a truth about myself, or it should be about the world in general?
Enlighten me.
Okay. I'm very happy that both of my hips are titanium right now.
What is the truth?
We've just lost our only source of light.
What is the truth?
It's good that there's a path alongside the bottom of this river.
That is a good truth. 1, 2, 3. What is the truth?
I want to go run to help, but I won't.
One of the truths is that there is water at the edge of this embankment.
And that's where I dropped our only light source into that water.
To that water.
Whose side are you on?
And it's carrying down the... I'm on the side of a good story, Amy. You know that. Yeah.
It's in the water.
Yeah.
Light
Bobbing.
is in the water.
Like a bobber.
Beautiful. Danny.
I want to punish him for losing our light.
But that's not a truth. That's an emotion.
Fair enough.
That's your truth.
That's my
Personal
truth.
truth.
If he hadn't been so yakety yak, he might not have slipped.
That's the truth. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'll say. Truth is, you were carrying the snacks and water, so they're all safe. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Great. And 9.
The water is very cold.
Great. So with that, we will begin our next scene. Wow, I didn't have to do anything. You did all the work for me. Thank you. We'll open up this. Mr. Randolph, you feel as you are sliding down this embankment, like you said, the titanium hips, they're doing their job. But you do feel the sharp, brisk daggers of cold water as your foot, up to your calf, I would say, is just slipped into this embankment, and you actually hear the sharp, crisp crack of ice as you feel it give away almost immediately and your feet are pushed right in. You also watch as the light that you were holding spins out of control as it comes onto your hand, and it skids out into the middle of the quasi-frozen river embankment, and you watch as it sits on the side of ice just for a moment before it bloop, goes into the river. You're the only one who sees this at the moment. What do you want to do?
Everyone, I've fallen.
JP, are you all right?
And you can't get up?
Well, that's really on you, isn't it? I need some help.
Okay.
Also, I may have dropped our light.
What?
But you're all
Oh.
right, though?
Well, actually, can you see it from where you are up there? It's actually quite pretty.
And it is. Yep. It's like a tiny little firefly that's going through the dark night.
We really should relish this moment. We won't have many more left.
If you don't stop talking...
You're going to what? Kill me? Eat me?
Of course
Just
not.
say what's on your mind.
What's on my mind is that you absolutely would not have fallen if you didn't talk so darned much and you paid more attention to what you were doing.
I am quite capable of doing two things at once. You should endeavor to be the same.
I believe you just proved yourself wrong.
All right.
There may have been
Just
other
keep-
mitigating circumstances.
Keep talking long enough for us to get down there to you. Hold on, we'll just find a way down.
And the voice does help as you basically are hearing Randolph, and you're able to pinpoint it. Both of you, the two of you that are, or the three of you that are coming down, you hear the water actually before you see it, and the small amount of starlight that is basically keeping your any amount of complete darkness is glistening off of this frozen embankment that is edging the side of the river at this moment.
Can you said so we're at the edge of this bridge and there's a pile up there
At the top of the bridge, yes.
at the top of the bridge. Is there a way to try to check any of the surrounding vehicles for any type of light sources or anything like that?
If you wanted to go through the cars, like, so you did not go down to the embankment? These two did.
We did.
And then
well,
you're up there.
That's what I would have suggested. Is like I think we need to check and see if we can find another light source. Yup. It's about that time.
In the meantime, you two do make it down.
Hot 6. Nope. That was a quick scene.
All right.
All right, buddy. Let's get her done.
Did you want to burn one of your virtues or vices at this stage?
Yeah, actually, well, I'll burn a virtue. That I'm
I still get to
Keep
keep
the
the
flame
one
alive.
But what is the virtue?
that I'm frugal.
Oh man, would you like to tell me about how this frugalness of yourself just I actually believe at this point it's pure cowardice at this stage that you're going through it, but I would love to hear when you do this reroll how you just start tossing things without any consolation to finding anything useful other than a light because of the sheer fear that you have right now of living in pure and unaltered darkness.
Yeah, sure. So, as I see the light float off into the distance, my heart starts racing a lot, in my chest, like beating out of my chest. I remember the last time I saw my wife and my son, and that's the feeling that this is coming up. It's this feeling of like impending doom, that there's very little I can do to help. And I'm ripping car doors open, anything that's open, just throwing out all the stuff, teddy bears, napkins, empty cigarette packs, like anything I can find, just desperately looking for anything,
Okay.
a candle,
You
a
were
light, a Zippo,
You
anything.
are scavenging.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Oh, there's two. Okay, good.
Tell me what you find, Ted.
I find I know like TJ keeps candles in his car and matches in case the car breaks down in the winter in Pennsylvania, so that's what you do. So I find those long burning candles that are meant to be literally melted on the bottom, stuck to your dashboard, and then lit until help comes. So I find like 3 of those.
Just long wicked candles.
Yeah, they're about that big.
Great.
They're a little thicker, and they burn really long. They're intended for long use.
And how does it feel to find them?
It's just there's that moment of relief, and I realize there's no light, and then I see it on the floor. It's just a glimmer on the floor on the passenger side, and I reach down and I grab it, and it's a Zippo, and I can hear a little bit of the fluid still in there, and I got these candles, and it's just the whole world melts away for that second.
Awesome.
And then I'll make my way.
You too. Mr. Randolph is still in the water. Do you want to help him out?
I'm at the water's edge, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would you like help or would you not?
Yes, of course.
Right. Well, you could just be a little more careful. We could all stand to be a little more careful as we make our way through. This is unusual circumstances. Here, give me
Yes,
your hand.
it's quite treacherous. If you'd come down here, I'm sure you would have fallen as well.
Well, we seem to be all right.
I'll offer my other hand.
So you both
Sorry.
take your hands out, and Randolph grabs both and just you pull him. You hear as the ice just kind of relinquishes the hold as you come up. Your pant legs are soaked at
Yeah.
this stage, and your loafers, boots, shoes, whatever you happen to be wearing.
There are actually some well, no, they wouldn't be. Yeah, they're nice Italian shoes, but they
Nice.
don't seem to fit me properly.
Not
they actually,
anymore.
they're a little loose.
Not at this point because the leather's going to shrink because they're wet now. So
Oh, well, then they might fit.
there you go.
Lucky accident.
But you pull him out, and you basically sit on this bank. You can hear the rushing water of this river continue to kind of like flow across you, and the glisten, just even the sound of the crinkling ice as the weakness that you've thrusted upon into it just kinkles down. It's very gives a sense of winter that's almost pleasing if it wasn't so fucking cold.
In my youth, I was quite the sailor, if only we had a boat.
Mr. Randolph,
Yes.
I know you've always had people doing things for you, but can
Yes,
you
that's the smart way to do it.
please take a little more care with what you're doing, because you have our lives you're putting at risk here too. And we are not your servants. We're all just trying to make it here together.
I have heard what you have said.
I suppose that's all I can ask.
What would you like to do?
Make our way back up to the bridge. I
Yeah.
mean, should we call up and see if Ted's found a way around the cars?
Is it reasonable to say that I might have found like an empty soda bottle or something in one of the cars?
Well, it was your narration at the time, so I think we can retcon that you have a small soda bottle as
Yeah,
well.
empty soda bottle. I want to find a way to get the top off and put the candle inside to create a windshield at some point.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a knife on you?
No, that's the problem.
Got it.
But it's a thought, and I'm going to keep that bottle.
Keep that bottle.
Stick it in the backpack.
Great. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, are you staying and calling up, or are you climbing back up?
I would say we should call up just in case he can't find a way around. We should look for a place down below
Got it.
to cross.
How's it going, Ted?
And I go, good news. Found some candles.
Wonderful.
Great job.
All right. Any sign of a way through?
I don't know. I don't know about with our old friend.
Excuse you, you don't know what I'm capable of.
Fair enough.
Capable of falling on your bottom.
Also true.
Oh, and losing a light.
Very true.
Are we going to keep circling back to this over and over again?
At
Well,
least
what's
for
the
another-
purpose
at least
of
for
that? How
another
is that
hour.
constructive?
Fair point. That's a fair point. Does anybody see a way forward?
I'm going to go ahead and try to
Start
provide a little
pulling out.
light.
Yeah, it's hard to see, so you can go back and start looking through the pathway again, and start investigating the very treacherous pile of cars at this stage.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see that one. I was like, whoo, whoo. Got it.
Yeah, but that one's for me. Oh, hold on, I had to actually. Nope. So this one's for me now, and those are for you.
There you go.
You can't outroll Ted.
Ted's got mad dice skills.
Well, you get to tell me exactly if you found a way or not, if it's through this or if it's around. What did you find, Ted?
I'm going to say that I did a little as much as I can get up safely to see if I can see anything over the top. Wasn't a great view. So I'm going to actually try to go around the way that he didn't go. Mm-hmm. And
Down into the embankment.
well, is the bridge completely blocked?
The bridge, as I described, was completely like you just saw the multiple car pileups. But this is your narration at this point, so it's your time to contribute to the story, Ted, and decide exactly how you'd like to see it play out.
Sure. So I'm going to say that there was a small around the other side that he didn't slide down. There was a small you to kind of wiggle your way in between two cars that were like almost jigsaw puzzle your way through
Yeah.
a narrow opening in the pileup
Okay.
that releases out into basically a narrow maze of where the cars just hit. You might have to climb over a couple hoods, but there seems to be enough room for a single file, at times sideways.
Got it. So
Tight
you have to
space.
navigate a maze.
Yeah, it's a maze of
tight
cars.
spaces
Yeah.
that you'll all have to take time to go through.
We might even have to go through some cars, like
Okay.
in one door and out the other to get through the pileup.
I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think so.
So you do
You are quite easily pleased.
walking through cars. I just have this image of you opening up one door barely enough to be able to squeeze inside in order to roll a window down so that you might crawl out through the other side. And these are things you do. You go through these tight corners. You navigate literally carried by the single light of this candle. And occasionally your movements are so jarring that you'll see it flicker for a moment as you begin to move through. You are about halfway through this bridge, this maze of carnal metal that is hindering your progress so much before you start to hear the screech of just metal being ripped apart, and you'll hear a loud boom just every once in a while, and it starts to slowly, it's a staccato sound, like just you'll hear it every once in a while, but soon it will start sounding a little like popcorn, just reek, and then thud over and over and over again as you look behind you.
It's just like an old ship. It's just settling. Nothing to worry about.
Is that the bridge?
I have no idea what that is.
I'm just kind of wide-eyed looking. I mean, I can't see anything behind them, so I'm just kind of like, what behind you?
I mean, I built all these bridges, and I didn't skimp on the construction at all, so...
Were you an engineer?
No, I paid for the bridges. That's
So
how
you
bridges
don't
get
know
built.
much about how they actually stay up.
Well, actually, I try to keep myself quite
Say,
informed.
guys, I think we need to pick up the pace.
You
Let's
watch
go.
as another
Again.
thud comes out.
That could be a piece of steel cable.
And it is a piece of steel cable because as you look behind you, you actually see it. You see this beautiful onyx patterned it that's staring behind you, and you're actually hearing that the sounds that are coming, and it's only because you can see the contrast between what is there and what is around you. But the popping is actually seeing and or hearing the cars as it is entering it, as this metal screeches, and you see that it has not reached the bridge yet, but it is soon upon the bridge.
Pick up the pace.
That's
Double
a,
time.
That's
Yep.
a go,
Pick
go,
up the
go, go,
pace.
go situation.
Right.
What's the, I mean, I know it's tight, so what's the order?
What is the order?
I assume he called down and then we came back up. Right? Because we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
down there.
Yeah, I think we're all
Is
together.
it making any noise of its own?
Not that you can hear, that are outside, but you know,
Is it beautiful?
the sound of wrenching metal as it thuds into something is, I don't know if beautiful would be the right way to describe it, but I don't know. What do you think, Randolph? Does it sound beautiful?
I'm reserving my judgment until I see the entire composition.
And by the way, this is the most that you can assume just from the little bit, because again, the only way that you can tell the darkness from it is simply the skyline that's in front of you, and the fact that this thing glistens almost like velvet, so it occasionally has a sheen that you can just look upon it and it'll ripple on occasion like an aurora borealis. So
And our light is not reflected in it,
no,
is it?
absolutely not. You're in front with the light, so double time. Actually, you've rolled enough. Danny, let's have you double time
Boy.
Thank you,
into
benevolent
the
God.
space.
Well, yeah,
So,
because I
You get Ted in front
Probably
of
This
the
way it can be
light.
your fault.
Yeah.
prod.
Danny.
Oh,
Danny
great.
helping JP through and opening up the rear.
Oh, yes.
all right, and doesn't seem to be any ones either.
Nope,
Oh,
there's
there
one.
is one. Great. Oh, here, let me roll with you. All right. Danny, tell me how you get out of this crunching maze of begotten cars.
Well, at this point, I would say he's in front. Rebecca's second, and JP's in the middle. We're trying to keep him from sliding and stuff like that. But
Right.
I am
Pushing the
very
rear.
vocal, and I am pushing.
Okay.
And I'm sure he's very vocal about it. But, like, Mr. Randolph,
Control
please,
yourself,
get-
woman. I realize I am incredibly attractive.
Get moving, and
So you basically, for all intents and purposes, you are
I am pushing
this
forward,
train
yeah.
forward.
I mean,
And-
you're able to.
yeah.
And as a result, you are moving through this pathway, and it is as you start to find yourself upon the other side that you hear the loud tung, 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 tung snaps of the supports of this bridge as you watch it just right into the bottom of the river, and you see as cars just slide down as if like a child's marble ramp, as they just sploosh, 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 like fall into it, and you watch as the shining glisten of the black river just carries each one of these cars away before the pileup is so large it actually makes a small island in the center as the bridge just crumbles into nothing.
It was a steel cable. You paid some attention.
I'm going to yank everybody forward. Keep
Right.
moving.
Keep moving.
We're still on the move.
Just because the bridge is gone doesn't mean it's not still coming.
Yeah, something tells me water doesn't stop that thing from moving.
We are still perpendicular to its.
That's difficult to tell at this point. You know, with the glisten and how close you are to it, you would have to check the left and right perspective in order to find out just how much it's angled at this point to be able to get into it. We have 7 candles. 8. 9. I can do math. We have 9 candles.
You did
still.
great, brother.
So, in order to resolve, I never turned this one off.
Because he re-rolled.
I re-rolled.
Yeah, he burned the virtue for it. So
We still have 9 candles in which to resolve.
Wow.
So let's get through this process, shall we?
Time to get reckless.
I don't know if I'd say that.
I grabbed the megaphone.
So this bridge has snapped. You are now still moving forward along the freeway at this stage, and you keep moving So you are lit by the light of a single candle at this stage. What would you like to do?
It's very much like.
I think we'd better find a knife for that. I like you. That was smart thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these cars has a pocket knife in the glove box?
Yeah, a little trick I used to use at the store when we lose power.
Aren't there sharp pieces of metal all around us? Couldn't you just cut on the edge of one of those?
I could try. I mean, a sharp rock would do it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Use your ingenuity, man.
Yeah.
Well, if that's looking to try to cut the bottle to make a thing, then you have it.
Stop
Why don't
doing
you hold
things,
on to
Ted.
it?
Yeah, stop trying to do things.
Ted,
I'm helpful. I'll look for a rock.
Nixon artery. Are you sure? Are you sure?
It is not a dire circumstance. It is trying to find a rock, but that's
Good luck.
fine. Just means I get narrative control. So,
No. There you
all
go.
right. So no sixes. Let's talk about what happens. So,
Determined to find a.
Rebecca, as you begin to stumble through the wreckage of cars, you go off the beaten path a little bit because most of what you see is just rounded rocks, not at all optimal for cutting. So you take some time in order to come around and look through things. And at that point, you hear something, a very distinct sound, whimpering, a soft, muddled whimpering of something. It doesn't sound like an animal. It sounds human.
Who's there? Who's there?
Oh, man.
So we're going to establish some truths. I will put the caveat of, we have 8 now. Yes, we have 8 now. Put some caveat. This is that I will tell you exactly what it is, but we at least have 8 truths in which to establish first. And normally I would say the truth is that it's dark. But first I will say that the truth is it is a child. What is another truth? You just don't know it yet.
Another truth is that the child is hungry.
Another truth is that we are also hungry.
Another truth is that this road does continue perpendicular
Okay,
away from the wall.
great.
Finding the limits of how much of these.
It is still dark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say that that is an immutable truth.
Yeah.
So you could elaborate on the speed of it a little more if you'd
Sure.
like.
Yeah. Much as Ted had joked, the water does not seem to be slowing it down. It is still moving at the pace in which it was moving towards the bridge.
Agreed. I have another truth. The child is tied up. Another one. The last one, actually.
Okay. The other truth is there is a significant amount of distance between the rest of our group and Rebecca. She is closest.
Got it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, you have the last truth, Danny.
Another truth is that there is someone else out there who tied up the child.
Great. Okay. Let us begin. Rebecca, as you are running through this grass, just completely motivated by this soft sound that is just a lone beacon in this silent night, you find yourself wading through tall grass, pushing through what appears to be a long open plain. And out of that plain, suddenly nothing is there. It seems to have been as if someone just cleared out everything that was around it. And in front, you can see a large metal fence post that's been staked into the ground. And you see a small manacled chain as a child is been bound directly onto this, and they are laying on the ground whimpering softly. You can barely see this because you have no light with you, but you can tell that it is a formless, small shape.
Oh, hi there. Who's there?
You hear a loud as if almost terrified that something has cried out. They don't move. They don't even lift their head up.
I head straight for it.
Okay.
My name is Miss Seward. Who did this to you?
You watch as like this kid look up, and even though the starlight is all that you have to guide by, you can see the white of this kid's eyes as brightly as any star in the sky. And you can see its face is disheveled. There's dirt everywhere. Its hair is matted. The clothes are grimy. You can smell human excrement in the area. And you can see this kid is just staring at you, and it doesn't respond, almost as if it's like a trance-like state, and a few seconds go by before it realizes, you're not a dream. And she like touches your face, and at this point you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl. There's just so much dirt behind it, but you kind of like drops the hand, and you just watch as their eyes lull in the back of their head as they drop their head back.
Oh, okay. Oh my, all right. Aren't you just,
Where did she run off to?
Rebecca?
Any luck with that rock?
Rebecca?
I found a child.
What?
Come give me a hand.
Wait, no, don't touch it.
Yeah, I'm off. Like I'd go.
You go.
I'd go for the kid.
Okay. Well, there goes your light.
I'll follow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it takes a few minutes in order for you to find Rebecca constantly calling out to find the distance. And, it takes a little longer for you to find her than she did it. But you eventually find her. You're in the time you're ministrating the child, and you can...
Can I unhook it?
It's... No, it is locked, and it has a padlock that's onto it, a keyed padlock.
This
onto
could
the
be a
side of it.
trap to lure silly people like you in.
And the whole time, you can hear the child is whispering over and over again, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
We know, but it's way over there, and we're here now. My name is Miss Seward. You remind me of my Anna's little Mackenzie, but dirtier.
You see a ghost of a smile behind your otherwise gentle ministrations. Goes, can you get me out of here?
No.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You all...
What if this is a sacrifice, and whoever left it here obviously knows more about what's going on than we do, and you want to disrupt that and doom all of us?
What? What if this is a what?
It's
A
three.
sacrifice.
It's 3 against 1. Okay, we're gonna try and get this kid out
Do
of
you
here.
think you could fight me off?
I'd like to.
Yes.
I was quite the pugilist in my
light
day.
candles and light it.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna try to search around the area to find a rock or a stone or anything I can try to bash that padlock off.
Finding rocks, finding things.
Yeah, I know.
You're destined to find things, Ted.
Yep, I'm destined to die saving this kid. And got one.
That's all you needed.
We
Please.
3 dice
three
gone.
Oh, well.
That was an important rock.
Yeah. Tell me
was
about
an
this
important rock.
very important rock that you found.
So after I light Danny's candle and I have my candle, I'm like frantically, because I still know that it is coming and it is moving at a pace that we don't like. So I'm just like, I haven't left too far of the area. I might be out of line of sight from them now, just because the fall off of the light. But I do manage to find a big like slate rock, like something
Yeah.
that it's heavy. Like it's easily a good 50 to 75 pounds.
Right.
It takes everything in me to drag it back.
Right.
And I've got I'm going to go for the chain.
Yeah, not the manacle.
Not the manacle.
Okay.
And try to find another hard surface to put the chain on. And I'm
Okay.
going to, with everything I've got, raise the rock over my head. And just, my whole body would collapse from the weight coming down.
Okay.
It just hits the chain as hard as I could in between the rocks.
All right. I'll take care of you. You lift this slate up and you watch as this rock just comes down, and you throw your whole weight behind it, and you can feel you pulled something
Yeah.
in this whole process. But it comes down in one hit. On one solid hit, you watch as the entire boulder just crumbles, like the entire thing breaks in front of you, because as you said, it's slate. It's
Yeah.
just a flaky rock, and it just like piles in front, and you watch as like dust, and you hear the child scream, "Ah!" Sorry. And as it just blasts in front, and you start to pull the rock away, and you see that the link has been shattered. And you pull it apart. It's halfway through, so you've still got about 3 fingers length of chain that's still accommodated, so it will drag.
Yeah, we'll affix that to him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take one of the pieces of slate.
Yeah.
And the bottle.
Yeah.
And go. Somebody cut the top off this bottle. I take care of this kid.
Yeah.
I'll cut it off.
2 for 1 rock.
2 for 1. Sure. 2 for 1 rock.
And
at
now
this-
we have one more person to feed.
Shut up.
And you do start to hear the gentle humming of. Have you ever had been around really high velocity machinery? The metallic hum that comes when you're in the room of 6 giant generators. Have you ever been to the Hoover Dam or anything? And the smell of ozone that pierces both your ears and your nose at this moment, as you can smell and hear this presence that just is pushing upon you, and it's almost like a force. It doesn't actually move you in any particular way, but it is almost like you've crossed into a field at this point, and it's actually more than pushing you, it's pulling you back is what it is, back behind you.
I'm gonna say we gotta go. I'm gonna scoop that kid up. I literally it's I mean, like I said, I gotta get up off the knee. It's tough, but I'm gonna muscle that kid up
Right.
and try to move. I'll hand her
I'll
the other
take the
candle.
waters.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna dump pretty much what I got.
I'll
and
take
the
one
kid.
of the waters.
And you start to move,
I could take the candle.
and you'll take the candle,
Sure.
Mr. Randolph.
Don't lose another light source, you motherfucker.
So you begin to now move at as much of a pace as an octogenarian can move.
Yeah.
But you begin moving through this process, and you can occasionally hear as if someone's mowing a lawn or something is reeds are being plucked out of nowhere. Just this behind you as you just continue on, and you can feel it's kind of as you spend a good time moving as quick as you can, you occasionally feel the field both come away from you and then back into you. And, well, what do?
You give the child some goldfish.
The food, what little
child's
food you have
hungry.
left. The child is
Yeah.
hungry. Yeah. And the child is, at this point, as you're carrying it, there is some consciousness. Just the weight of being off at this point. You can both hear the relief in its voice as it just repeats, thank you, they were going to leave me there, thank you. And even at some point down,
Who was going to leave you there?
the child is so curled up into Ted at the moment. You can hear them. They are the mourners. As they just continue to, as you move, you're all moving together. The last you hear is really this mourners. You keep your pace
I would have blown my candle out to conserve the light when
Oh.
we're all together.
just to have the one going.
Yes. And I ask the child their name.
Their name. Millie.
Hi, Millie. I'm Danny.
Danny, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you had to find me. I'm so sorry you had to stop to get me.
I'm so sorry that somebody did this to you.
It's going to happen to everybody. They want that, the mourners. They just want to be with them.
Them?
It.
And the ones they've lost? Or just it?
She's quiet for a second as she's kind of contemplating the weight of your question. And the next words are so light you can barely hear it as you're attempting to trudge through this grass to the point of where you stop, just so that you can hear. My parents. can kind of hear there's a little bit of almost relief, but also this odd, imposing sense of just giving up. She's like, just leave me. Don't try to go away from it. They'll all get you in the end. It takes whatever it wants.
Well, it doesn't have us yet, and it doesn't have you yet, and no one's gonna hurt you.
I smile at her.
All we have left is trying.
Yeah.
We gotta hope that we can figure out a way to run away from it or fight it.
Don't get close to it. It took them. It took them so fast.
Your parents?
Yes. They grabbed it. And grabbed it. And I ran. They held my hand and they tried to hold me with them, but I ran. And then more of them found me. I'm so tired.
You rest, okay?
And then I'll whisper to her that I won't let that thing take her alone. If I basically pledge her that if she's going, I'm going with her. She's not going in there alone.
I don't want to. I didn't want. I couldn't. And these are basically the few things that she can sum up the courage to say is going into it. Her regret is not being with her parents when they decided to go into it. And even though she ran, this was the fate that besotted upon her. So, the road is ongoing, and as you look behind you, you can see that you are making a little bit of a pace ahead of it, enough to the fact that you are not in its field, or whatever the field is, whatever the small sense that all of you can very easily distinguish that tells you that it is danger close, if that is truly what it is. But you can see that the details of the distances around you and in your periphery